Have you ever walked into a place where the fun and laughter of children mask something darker, something sinister lurking in the shadows? Imagine this. You're just a regular parent, thinking it's another fun trip to Chuck E. Cheese. But what happens next will haunt you forever. I'm about to share a story that's as terrifying as it is true. A story that'll make you think twice before ever stepping foot inside one of these so-called family-friendly establishments again. And if you're the type of person who believes all those smiling faces are innocent, think again. You're about to enter a nightmare that will challenge everything you thought you knew about Chuck E. Cheese. It was a Friday night, and for most parents, that meant a trip to Chuck E. Cheese. The kids were excited, the arcade lights flashing, and the sounds of laughter filling the air. Nothing out of the ordinary, or so it seemed. But one parent, let's call them Sarah, had no idea that this trip would change their life forever. Sarah's kids were begging her to go, so as any good parent would do, she gave in. She knew the routine: order pizza, let the kids run around, and maybe play a few rounds of skee-ball. But on this night, something felt different. Something was off. At first, it was subtle. The lights seemed a little dimmer than usual. The air felt heavier, like the whole place was holding its breath. The arcade games, usually filled with the sounds of excitement, were eerily quiet. Sarah brushed it off. Maybe it was just the late hour, but when she caught a glimpse of the animatronic band, that's when things started to spiral into the unknown. Have you ever felt like you're being watched? That's exactly how Sarah felt when she looked up. The animatronic band, the one that was supposed to be entertaining her kids, was wrong. The characters weren't just standing still. Their eyes moved, not like the usual programmed movements, but in a way that made Sarah freeze. It was as if they were staring right at her, as if they knew something she didn't. And then, the unthinkable happened. Sarah's kids, who had been running around the arcade, suddenly froze. They stood motionless, staring at something on the other side of the room. Sarah called to them, but they didn't respond. She walked over, and that's when she saw it. The door to the back room, the one that was always supposed to be locked, was cracked open just enough for her to see a figure standing in the shadows. This wasn't part of the usual Chuck E. Cheese experience, and Sarah knew it. She felt an icy chill run through her as she slowly approached the door. Her heart raced as the hairs on the back of her neck stood up. Just as she reached out for the door, she heard a voice. "Don't go back there." Sarah turned, but there was no one there. Who could have said that? She had been alone, or so she thought. Her kids were still standing in place, completely motionless, staring into the dark. But that was only the beginning. As Sarah tried to lead her kids away, she noticed something else. The lights flickered, and then, in an instant, the entire arcade went silent. The usual music, the laughter, even the hum of the air conditioning, all gone. A cold dread washed over her. She knew something was wrong. She quickly rushed her kids to the front, only to find the entrance door locked, and they were the only ones in the building. Panic set in. Sarah tried the door again, pulling with all her might. Nothing. The doors wouldn't budge, the windows were sealed shut, and as she turned around to check on her kids, she saw it again. The animatronics. All of them now moving, twitching in a way they weren't supposed to. But what terrified Sarah the most wasn't the animatronics. It was the fact that she realized they weren't the only ones watching her. A shadowy figure, tall, menacing, was moving behind the animatronics. As Sarah's eyes adjusted to the darkness, she realized she wasn't alone. Who was this figure? And why had the doors been locked? Before Sarah could make a move, the lights flickered again. A loud crash echoed through the building. She turned, and what she saw next made her blood run cold. But that part of the story, that's for later. If you want to know what happened to Sarah and her children that night, you'll have to keep watching. because the truth about Chuck E. Cheese is far darker than you could ever imagine. If you think this story is chilling, wait until you hear what happened on Valentine's Day. You won't believe the terrifying true tale we have for you next. Check out our video on Valentine's Day horror right now. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Click the link now to uncover even more horror that's right under your nose. Stay safe out there, because sometimes the most innocent places hide the darkest secrets. It was supposed to be a fun night, but some places hide secrets. Secrets that could change everything you thought you knew about them. What if Chuck E. Cheese, a place filled with laughter and joy, was hiding something much darker, something that shouldn't have been there, but was? Tonight you will hear the true story of Maria, a mother who never thought that her innocent night out with her daughter would lead her into the heart of a nightmare that would haunt her forever. But before we dive in, let me ask you, do you really know what happens behind closed doors in those family-friendly places? Keep watching. What you're about to hear will make you think twice before walking into a Chuck E. Cheese ever again. It was just supposed to be a fun night for my daughter, Emma, and me. I remember thinking, it's just a pizza and some arcade games. How wrong I was. I never imagined that Chuck E. Cheese could be hiding a secret that would make me question everything. But now I can't shake the feeling that we weren't alone that night. Maria and her daughter Emma walked through the doors, unaware of the presence lurking in the shadows. The sounds of laughter, the clinking of tokens, the jingle of arcade machines. Everything seemed normal at first. But Maria couldn't have known that this trip would change their lives forever. It all started with the games. At first, Maria thought it was a harmless glitch, but then the lights above their heads began to flicker, slowly at first, like a malfunction. Then the music shifted. A strange, dissonant melody that almost sounded off. Maria. I noticed the music at first. It was like something was wrong, but I thought it was just me. We went to the whack-a-mole game, but as I hit the moles, I swear something felt different. The moles, they didn't look right. Maria thought it was just her imagination playing tricks on her. But then something happened that couldn't be explained away. Emma was playing the claw machine when she saw it. The reflection. Maria. She was reaching for that stuffed animal. But when she looked up, her face drained of color. I asked her what was wrong. She said, I saw someone. At first, I thought she was just tired, maybe imagining things. But I saw it too. There was something moving in the reflection. Maria turned, expecting to see another family, but no one was there. Only an empty corner. The very corner where the animatronic Chuck E. Cheese character had once stood. And that's when the terror began. Maria. I didn't want to believe it, but the animatronic wasn't moving. But there was something about it, something unsettling. The eyes, they didn't look right. I told Emma to stop playing, but when we tried to leave, the exit door wouldn't open. Panic set in. The exit door was locked, but the real nightmare was yet to come. The animatronics. Those lifeless figures who should have been still. They began to move, but not like they were programmed to. Maria. The others, they were moving too, but they weren't just dancing. They were watching us, as if they were alive. I kept hearing footsteps, but no one was around, and then the lights went out completely. In the pitch black, Maria and Emma could hear soft, mechanical whirring sounds, almost like gears grinding. And then a voice that didn't belong to any animatronic. You shouldn't have come, Maria. It was a whisper, just above the noise of the machines, but it felt wrong. I could hear it in my bones, the way it vibrated in the air. I grabbed Emma's hand and ran, but the halls, they kept twisting. I couldn't find my way out. As they raced through the darkened halls, Maria felt like they were trapped in a nightmare. The walls seemed to close in, and that voice, it was following them. Maria. I thought I saw the exit, but it was just another hallway. I was losing hope. Then Emma screamed. I turned, and there it was. But what Maria saw next, what she heard, that's something you won't believe. Something even darker than she could have imagined. Maria, the thing that was hunting us, wasn't human. Want to know the truth behind Maria's horrifying experience? What really happened that night? The answers are waiting for you, but it's not just Chuck E. Cheese you should be afraid of. This is only the beginning. If you dare, click on the screen to watch the next terrifying tale. But remember, some stories are better left untold. What if I told you that behind the bright lights and cheesy mascot of Chuck E. Cheese lies a disturbing tale that will haunt you long after this video ends? A story of mysterious disappearances, eerie sightings, and a chilling discovery no parent should ever hear about. Buckle up, because once you know the truth, you'll never look at that place the same way again. But hey, maybe it's all just a marketing strategy to keep parents on their toes, right? Spoiler, it's not. Let's dive in. Chuck E. Cheese, the place where childhood dreams come with greasy pizza and slightly unsettling animatronics. But in the small suburban town of fictional location, one family's visit turned into an unspeakable nightmare. It was a typical Saturday evening, ball pits bouncing with laughter, arcade games ringing with delight. But that night, something dark lingered in the air. A mother, Sarah, had taken her 6-year-old son, Noah, to Chuck E. Cheese to celebrate his birthday. She was exhausted from wrangling kids all day, but relieved when Noah ran off to play in the tunnels above the arcade. Minutes turned into hours. Parents know that uneasy feeling, right? You tell yourself it's fine, but your gut says otherwise. Sarah's gut was screaming. She searched the entire restaurant, no sign of Noah. Not at the games, not in the tunnels, not even at the prize counter. It was as though he'd vanished into thin air. The police were called, but here's where things get weird. Employees claimed they saw Noah heading toward the restricted area near the animatronics room. Now ask yourself, why would a child go there? Or more importantly, what was waiting for him inside? Wait a second. Why does Chuck E. Cheese even have a restricted area? Is that where they store the pizza they forgot to reheat? Just kidding, but seriously. As officers searched the restricted room, they noticed something unsettling. Scratch marks on the walls, as though someone or something had been trapped inside. One officer's flashlight flickered as they moved deeper into the room. And then, they saw it. The animatronic Chuck E. Cheese stood in the corner, its eyes flickering. But here's the terrifying part. It was moving, slowly, mechanically, when it shouldn't have been powered on. And there, tangled beneath the cables, was Noah's shoe. But Noah, he was still nowhere to be found. Stay with me, because what they found next sent shivers down every parent's spine. 2 days later, Noah was found in a wooded area miles from the restaurant, dazed but unharmed. He couldn't remember how he got there, only that the mouse told him to follow. The animatronic? Management claimed it was simply malfunctioning. But Sarah swears she heard a faint voice echoing from its speaker the night they searched. A voice that whispered, "Come back and play." Coincidence? Or is there something much darker lurking beneath those bright lights and carnival sounds? If that story made your heart race, just wait until you hear about a chilling Valentine's Day encounter that will make you question love forever. Click here to watch my next true horror story, because trust me, you won't want to miss it. Stay curious and stay safe.